LiquidGym, and I'm going to talk to you today about running shoes and how long they last and what you should look for. First of all, we're just finishing up a winter, so running shoes, I'm going to talk about what happens in the winter to your shoes if you run outside. They get completely coated with salt, caked up with salt, so two things will happen to the shoe when you do that. Is the shoe becomes very stiff and it doesn't bend because it's so caked with salt, and the laces don't move in their holes, so the shoe becomes very stiff, doesn't allow your foot to bend and flex the way it should, so you could be prone to injuries. And also the shoe doesn't breathe properly anymore because the mesh is completely clogged up. So if you've been wearing a pair of shoes all winter long outside, I would recommend replacing them in the spring and starting with a new pair. Shoe longevity. Most good cushion shoes will last about 1,000 kilometers. This depends on the shoe itself. It also depends on how much you weigh. Obviously, somebody who's 100 pounds on a pair of shoes is going to last a little bit longer than somebody who's 180 pounds on the pair of shoes. But generally, a good cushion shoe should last you about 1,000 kilometers. What you can look for, obviously, the first thing to look for is sole. If you're starting to see wear so that the sole is becoming smooth in spots, then the shoe is done. By the time you see that, the rest of the shoe has started to break down. So definitely wear on the sole is a first indication that the shoe has had too many miles on it. Another thing you can look for is look at the cant at the back of your shoe. You'll see how this one I've crushed it completely on the one side. It is crushed down and it no longer comes back. So that shoe, the cushioning over there is gone. It's finished as well. And another thing you can look for is in this shoe, you can see there's all kinds of creases in the midsole. Once you see those little creases, I'm just going to flip it over so you can see the other side. There's all kinds of little creases in here. That's an indication when you squish that, it just squishes down. There's nothing left there to cushion. It's finished. Another thing you can look for is the heel counter. You can see how this heel counter has completely collapsed down. That's because the person who wears these shoes puts them on without untying them. So that's eventually what happens. The heel counter breaks down. It doesn't hold the heel properly. So the shoes are no good. So one of the dangers of running in worn out shoes, is obviously injuries. The main thing that keeps you from getting injured is a good shoe. If the shoe's not holding you properly and not giving you the cushioning you need, your risk of injury gets really high. So don't try to stretch your shoes out if it's coming towards the end. Don't try to think, oh, I'll try to go another month, save a little bit of money. Go and get yourself new shoes. It's not worth the risk of injury. So just remember, good pair of cushion shoes about 1,000 K, lightweight shoes about 500 K. You probably can get out a pair of lightweight shoes. Then you need to replace them. And only wear your shoes for running, don't wear them for walking around. It just adds mileage and it wears them out sooner. Okay, so that's Sherry from LiquidGym. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.